Hello everyone, and welcome to Flammable Cotton Candy. I'm Chris, and today I'm going to be talking about ReZero. If you have not seen ReZero yet, I would recommend it because it's a good anime and there will be spoilers and stuff in this video. If you're not afraid of spoilers or have already seen the anime, then cool, I guess. I was going to keep talking anyways. If you don't want spoilers, click off the video. I'm not forcing you to watch this, nobody's forcing you to watch this, you shouldn't be subjected to spoilers if you don't want to see them. I originally had a video plan that pretty much went over the whole anime like a giant summary, but that wasn't fun to watch or make. So instead I'm going to plagiarize Henry and use his format. Except I'm not sure if it's plagiarism since we're working together and we're on the same team and stuff. Anyways, I am going to talk about a general overview of the anime that will not turn into a full series summary. We don't want that. I'm going to B, talk about main characters and some of the important side characters that stood out to me. And C, some of my favorite scenes will be talked about. Might add a little bit more to that list, but that's the main goal. ReZero is a wonderful slice of life comedy anime that is suitable for all ages. It is not. It really isn't. That's a joke. Note the obvious sarcasm. It can get kinda dark, kinda quick. ReZero is about Subaru. No, not the car. Yeah, that kid, the main protagonist. He gets summoned into another world. Subaru knows little to nothing about this strange world. He also doesn't realize that dark alleyways are still dangerous, no matter where you are. Don't go into dark alleys. He ends up getting robbed by some thieves in that dark alleyway that he found himself into, but luckily Amelia runs into Subaru and saves him. Subaru names Amelia as his main love interest and is invited to stay at the mansion Amelia lives at. This is where Subaru meets a lot of the characters and learns more about this world. He learns that there are some baddies in this world, and his love for Amelia drives him to take down those baddies like a hero. He also learns that Amelia is running for ruler, and he wants to do everything in his power to support her with that, even though he might end up getting in the way a bit. Alright, now we know a bit about the anime, and I can start talking about some of the characters in said anime. There are a bunch of characters in ReZero. Some of them are pretty cool, and others are just there. I'm going to start with some of the main characters. Subaru Natsuki is a 17-year-old boy. He is an average teenager. The only abnormal thing about him was that he was summoned to another world, and that he is the chosen one to be relentlessly tortured. He has a special ability that he decided to call Return by Death. This interesting ability allows him to return to a previous point in his life when he dies. The time he returns to is predetermined, so he doesn't really get to choose when to go back. It's more of a save point rather than time travel. Subaru decides early on that Amelia will be his main love interest. Amelia is often referred to as the Witch of Envy because they look similar. Amelia is a half-elf with silver hair and purple eyes, kind of like the Witch of Envy. I think she's unfairly judged. It's unfair to judge someone based off of appearances, and just because someone looks like somebody else does not mean they act the same. She is able to use spirit magic. This allows her to communicate with the spirits, summon them to help out, and some other cool things. Puck is one of these spirits. He's a spirit that takes the form of a little flying cat. Puck is pretty cool. He likes getting his belly rubbed and his ears played with. Oh, and he can talk, 'cause why not? Talking about cats, let's talk about this cutie. Felix is amazing.
スバル、彼とは知り合いだったのかい？彼？そう、騎士、フェリックス・アーガイル。こう見えて立派な男性だよ。
Yep, as Reinhard said, Felix is a dude. He is adorable. Felix is by far my favorite character in this anime. He's a cat boy. Felix is a healer and is Crush's knight. Crush is another contester for the throne. Now it's time for some of the characters that live in the mansion. Okay, I don't remember her being on the list. Who is she? I think she might be a new character. I don't know. Okay, the joke is over. I didn't get white-whaled. It's not that funny anymore because it gets overused. We all know this is Ram. No? What do you mean she's not Ram? Oh, she's Rem. Yeah, this is Ram. Now, you might get them confused, like I just did. And that's reasonable because they only have a single letter difference in their name and they look similar. They're both maids in the mansion, they both wear maid outfits, they're both sisters and demons. There's a lot in common. Some of the things that are not common between the two is their attitudes, their hair color, and which eye they decide to cover up. Those are some main noticeable differences that I have found that kind of help me differentiate the two. Rem is this blue-haired maid that works at Roswell's mansion. She's a little shy and speaks up to everyone. Rem, on the other hand, has red hair and is a little more self-concerned. She's a bit rough around the edges and it can come off as rude. Now for the head of the house, the one you've all been waiting for, Lord Roswell. Roswell is this powerful man. He may talk a bit odd and wear funny clothes, but he's really smart and can pack a punch, whether it be fisticuffs or magic. He's great at both. He wears makeup that kind of makes him look like a jester or a clown, which is kind of scary because clowns are scary, but he's a pretty cool dude. Also, Roswell has the same voice actor as Dio, and yeah, that's a JoJo reference. Next up is Beatrice. I suppose she's a bookworm lolly that says I suppose a ton and doesn't leave her magic library often. The library's pretty cool. It's hard to get into because it's like a pocket dimension that can be opened by any door in the castle, but it's always the last door you check. Subaru, however, is super lucky and can first try the door and get into the library on the first door he opens. I suppose I'm saying I suppose a bit much, but I suppose I'm making fun of how often Beatrice says I suppose. I suppose that will be the last I suppose. I'm moving on from this. I suppose. Those are some of the characters that stood out to me. There are a whole lot of other characters, but I don't want to spend all day talking about everyone. I do want to say something about two characters that made it onto my honorable mentions list. The guy at the market gets a shout out for selling appas and being Subaru's first save point. And Reinhard. He's super powerful and has a sword. I want to talk a little more about him in my favorite scenes section. One of the prettiest scenes happens in the slums. It's of Amelia communicating with the spirits of the area, trying to gather information. It looks so pretty because, well, just look at it. She's standing over a river with a beautiful sunset behind her with a bunch of blue orbs floating around her. Floating blue orbs and sunsets are pretty. I personally wouldn't say explosions are pretty, though. I think they're more cool than anything. Do you want to know what's cooler than an explosion? Using your sword to cause an explosion. Or better yet, having your sword explode with a ton of power. Reinhard is able to do this. He uses his immense power to make a giant explosion with his sword. It was super cool, but it wasn't all that effective. He ended up destroying the tavern, leaving a big pile of rubble, and he didn't even take out his opponent. But he did scare her off, so it was kind of useful. What else can I say to make this video longer? I saw that Henry was talking about fan service and some plot. I can't say I know much about that, but I can talk about some little extra that the show added for some of the fans. Half the plot is Subaru dying, getting tortured while he dies, getting murdered, painfully dying in excruciating ways, and death directed at Subaru, or involving Subaru. Subaru dies quite a bit. One like equals one less death for Subaru. If you like this video and want to see more, consider subscribing. You don't have to if you don't want to. It is free though, and you can get notified when we upload next. Henry made a video on Konosuba. If you haven't seen it yet, I would recommend going over and watching it. I'll leave a link to it somewhere on this video. It'll most likely be in the description. Alright, have a good one. Bye.